The Death Riders, Kronus.
Yeah. Started so strong.
Yeah, we're hi everyone. A.I.W. Honorary Zeus here, joined by Kronus the Bear, as always.
Hello.
Hello. We're here to talk about the Death Riders story in A.I.W., the heel faction led by John Moxley, joined by Claudio Castagnoli, Pac, Wheeler Yuta, and Marina Shafir as the heavy, shall we say?
Yeah.
Kind of like a Black Widow type character. She does look a bit like Scarlett Johansson, doesn't she? In her current.
A little bit.
Yeah. So we're here to talk about this story and how we think it's just completely fallen off a cliff, flat on its face, should we say?
Yeah.
And
Unfortunately.
yeah, there's lots to discuss here, even though it's only been since was it September? It kind of all came to a head. All Out, I think, is when we saw the heel turn on Bryan Danielson. And again, there's lots to talk about. So I don't know how, in its current state. Let's start with you, Cronus. How in its current state, as we're seeing it unfold on television now, how is it making you feel watching it as a, AEW fan, wrestling fan? What's it giving you?
It's difficult because I really like all of the people involved, but it's just so flat.
Yeah,
it's almost funny, but not intentionally.
Yeah, I know what you mean. That's like the worst kind of funny to be, isn't it?
Yeah,
in wrestling,
and it's sad to see, really.
Yeah, and it's I think one of the most glaring things is that this is the second failed takeover angle in less than a year within the same company.
I don't know if this was done to sort of pick up where the Elite storyline kind of just dropped off.
Yeah,
but neither have really worked.
Well, there's a lot of things flying around at the moment in terms of why this might be happening. Now we know that Tony Khan is, like most of us, first and foremost a wrestling fan, and Tony Khan, like us, has favorite periods of wrestling, favorite eras of wrestling. Tony loves New Japan, but Tony Khan also loved Eric Bischoff, and he loved the NWO. And I do wonder if this is him trying to kind of, obviously not recreate, because there'll never be another NWO, but do you think there's an element of like he's trying to recreate something that could be his version of an NWO type deal?
I think every takeover angle you're gonna relate back to NWO, aren't you?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
I don't know if it's fair any of them really being compared to it.
No, there'll never be another one. But
no.
I do wonder if, because Tony's such a fan of, he must have thought, like all of us did, that's awesome.
Possibly.
And because again, he's a wrestling fan who's got a chance to book his own storylines, and he's got his own company. So it wouldn't surprise me if that was the case. It's pure conjecture. It's not, no one's reported that, but it's just something that's.
It's possible.
It might have something to play into it, because Tony is a fan of wrestling, and I think I've said before in a previous video, a lot of us would love to be in Tony's position. We probably do the same things Tony are doing, which is book what I want because it's my show and I'm a wrestling fan. But yeah, this is the second one. So we had the Elite takeover, and there are some similarities between these two. I think the first similarity is they started off really hot in the first sort of segment that we knew something was happening. So the Elite, when they attacked Tony Khan and Shad Khan came out, I thought, wow, that's awesome. This is cool. Like, this is something I didn't expect. It's something out of character. It's something that you think, oh my god, I wonder what's going to happen next week. And then, not a lot happened next week. And then with the Death Riders, the attempted murder of Bryan Danielson with a bag over his head. Again, it was kind of, I know that AEW is no stranger to shocking moments like that, but I thought it was, apart from Excalibur crying, I thought it was great. In terms of how
really strong opening.
Yeah, in terms of how it was executed.
Savage.
Yeah. But I think this one has kind of fallen off quicker than the Elite one did, because at least with the Elite, they showed signs of taking over. Like they would halt production, they would cancel and book matches, kind of thing. And I know they were EVPs and it played into their character, but it actually felt like they had a hold on things in terms of what happened on the show. And Tony Khan was off screen. He sold his neck injury for 2 weeks, and then Christopher Daniels was brought in. That's kind of where it started to get a bit messy. But I've not seen anything like that from the Death Riders, and I still don't know what they're here for. And it's been 5 months now, 4 months.
Lost count now.
Yeah, I still don't really know what their mission statement is. I think we've got a few quotes where I think Moxley was originally, he was saying that he wanted to change the fabric of A.I.W. and he wanted to go back to its roots and right the ship and all this kind of cryptic bollocks that, you know, it was kind of saying a lot of nothing, wasn't it?
It's like a rah-rah speech,
yeah,
kind of gimmick.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And it's like, okay, this sounds good. What are you going to do? And then as time went on, we were like, okay, what's going to happen? And they've got the title in this briefcase, which is way too small for the title. And and then he's aligned himself with BCC, Claudio, Wheeler, Pac, and then Marina Shafir's back all of a sudden. She's, attacking people, which is a really good role for her, actually. And then the foundation was there, because if there's anybody you want in that lead role, it probably would be Jon Moxley, wouldn't it? Because of his because of his intensity and the message he can get across, and he's a ex-WWE guy, and he's one of the the first big AEW guys who jumped ship, and he held the company on his back, that kind of thing. So I think the message is coming from the right person. And that's pretty much where the story ends, isn't it? And nothing else has really happened.
No, it's not really taken any leaps. It's just done sort of silly backstage stuff, really.
Yeah, like attacking the Dark Order, I think, was the first big red flag. That this was not probably what it should be. Because with all due...
images of John Silver just running after the van. Or the truck.
Again, I shouldn't be laughing at this storyline. I mean, okay, I laughed at the NWO when they lawn darted Rey Mysterio into a truck. Okay, that was funny. But they were cool. And, these guys aren't cool at the moment. So we've got some A.I Jeff. This is A.I.W, so we didn't want to leave A.I Jeff out completely. So I've asked A.I Jeff to make some of his own notes about the Death Rider storyline. So we've got some kind of quotes here about what the original plan was from Moxley. So A.I Jeff says that Moxley basically suggested that AEW had lost its edge and was moving away from its original kind of gritty ethos, which obviously Moxley would disapprove of, because in terms of going towards something more family friendly, that's what the other guys were doing, which is what he left. He emphasized a return to wrestling's roots, where the competition is fierce, stakes are high. He declared themselves as the ones to correct the ship, implying that it was his personal responsibility to steer AEW back to what he perceived as its true course. And then he did also mention that he was disappointed in current talent, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was like, some people are happy just to sit there and take a payday. Never really revealed who these people are. Hasn't really targeted specific people for these specific reasons. And he's hinted at a desire for a cultural shift within AEW, pushing for a wrestling environment where the focus is on sports intensity rather than showmanship or lighter entertainment. So, based on that, I don't think anything's changed at all. I think the problem with this storyline is it feels like a very small storyline in its own little bubble on the show.
Yeah, not as big as they sort of want it to be.
No,
definitely
no, because I remember, like, when they first happened, I think they should have done something like the Nexus did. I think they should have just wrecked the place.
Yeah.
And you look at the Nexus, right? The Nexus was basically NXT guys and jobbers, wasn't it?
Yep.
But it wasn't who they were, it was what they did that had the impact.
Yeah, exactly. Because I didn't watch NXT really at the time.
Yeah.
I had no idea who they were, but it was exciting.
Yeah, and it was like, what the hell's this? They literally just came out and they ripped the ring apart. They took out commentary, tore up everything, and just said, we're here to make a stay. And you're like, wow. And that still goes down in history as one of the best debuts of all time.
Yeah.
Just because of how shocking it was. And I think they should have done that at the end of one of the pay-per-views in which they've been on. So Wrestle Dream, Full Gear, World's End. Even All Out, when they actually did the whole choke out of Bryan Danielson.
Yeah.
And they've even had, like, they advertised Jon Moxley the Death Riders take over the Superstation on Dynamite, which is the television company producing the show, I assume. And you think, oh, okay, here we go. They're going to mess up production. They're going to be like, this is brought to you by the NWO kind of thing. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. He beat up JD Drake. That was it. That was it. And then the people they've targeted, like the Dark Order, you've got JD Drake, you've got Chuck Taylor. No disrespect to these guys, but these guys haven't been presented enough on TV for me to care about being taken out.
Definitely see where you're coming from.
And I can understand that it's, you want to go through some jobbers and kind of make an example out of them. It just didn't really hit home. And it hasn't really progressed kind of since. And I think the worst thing about this is that even Jon Moxley's matches haven't been that good during this run. Like a lot of them, especially the World's End Fatal 4-Way, I didn't think was very good at all.
No, it wasn't amazing, was it?
No. And they're kind of like starting to get the right people involved, like Hangman, Jay White, sorry. They're the kind of people who you'd want to be, top tier talent to be fighting against the Death Riders.
Yeah.
But they seem to be out of it now. I mean, Hangman's got a Texas death match with Christopher Daniels on Collision next week. Like, what the fuck? Like, give me a break. Guy should be world champion by now. Jay White, I don't know what Jay White's doing. And then now we've got Adam Copeland, I assume, against Jon Moxley. We've got Powerhouse Hobbs against Jon Moxley next, or this Wednesday coming.
Yeah.
Wonder who's going to win that. And then I assume it's Adam Copeland against Jon Moxley at Grand Slam in February. Now, what worries me is that Darby Allin has been seen as the guy to beat Moxley for the title. He's away now because he's going to climb Mount Everest finally.
Okay.
Unless he gets hit by a bus again. But he's going to be out for a few months. I don't think I can take this for a few more months. How are they going to drag this out until July, which is rumored when Darby's going to challenge Moxley at All In, the biggest show, the main event of the biggest show? Are they really going to drag this out that long?
No, not, but it certainly seems that way.
Well, I mean, they're in a very tough position because what do? Tony's not the kind of guy to admit defeat. Let's be honest. He knows the perception on social media, and I imagine he must have a tremendous amount of pride. If he says, with this storyline, 2 in a row, all right, I fucked up, let's get rid of it. I don't think he's going to do it. I think he's going to drag it out and just ride with it.
Yeah, that's certainly the MO.
And I think the reason why, me personally, I'm deeming it a failure now is because even if for some reason it does get really good and interesting, it's too late. Why didn't you do that in the beginning? It's been 4 months of basically nothing. The biggest storyline on your TV show week to week. It's largely been repetitive. We've not really got any advancement. Everyone was excited for Shane McMahon coming in and being the leader of this, and that's obviously not happening.
Yeah.
Some people might have liked that. I thought, I'm not a huge Shane McMahon fan, but I thought it would have added something different, maybe.
Yeah, certainly be some intrigue.
Yeah, as long as he's not wrestling.
Yeah.
Have him as an on-screen character, have him, take over Collision, have a show versus show thing. Why not? Do something like that. That'd be cool. And then that will kind of force you into a brand split, which I think would actually benefit the company. But no, so where are we now then? Yeah, we've got Powerhouse Hobbs, who won a gauntlet match last week, getting a title shot the week after. So that tells you, you know.
Yeah, good for Hobbs.
Good for
but
Hobbs, yeah.
He's not going to win.
No, he's not. He needs to look good though. He needs to look good.
Yeah.
I mean, he needs to have some visual pinfalls in that match. Like we need ref bumps, we need Power Hobbs with a visual 3 count, and then Powerhouse Hobbs gets screwed by Claudio Pack, whoever.
Standard procedure.
Yeah, I mean it's Raw 101, isn't it? It's fine. So that's how you should do it, because he needs to look strong because he's great. We love Powerhouse Hobbs. But he's not winning the title. Adam Copeland, presumably at Grand Slam. Could he? I mean, I could see Adam Copeland being AEW World Champion, but would they do it yet?
I could certainly see Tony putting it on him. But yeah. When is the question?
Yeah. I'm not calling him Cope, by the way. Give me a fucking break. Adam Copeland. I could definitely see him being champion. I think he'd be a good world champion. Whether that goes against the ethos of old ex-WWE guy, fine. There's a difference between Adam Copeland and Jeff Jarrett, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, if they wanted to, for instance, just bail out on the Death Rider story, they could have Adam Copeland win it and then start feuding with Christian.
Well, yeah, Christian's got that contract, hasn't he? Yeah, exactly, yeah. And I think that having Christian with that contract is a massive get out of jail free card, because Christian's great, and if he won the world title, I wouldn't hate it. I honestly wouldn't hate it, as long as it wasn't for ages. Have it for a month or two and then put over someone great. Christian's great on the mic, one of the best characters they've had in a long time, one of the best heels in the entire industry. So yeah, I think having Christian Cage with that contract is a big plus for them, and it does give them an out. It's whether they take it. Now, when it happened, the choking of Daniel Bryan, should we call it, and Excalibur crying, the bagging. It closed on a shot of Hook, Daniel Garcia, Darby Allin, and Orange Cassidy. Like a camera shot of those 4 individuals.
Yeah.
And seemingly saying that these are the new 4 pillars kind of thing.
Yeah. These are the opposing side.
Yeah, this is the heart and soul of AEW. This is the youth, and we are the kind of, the ones that are going to bring down the Death Riders. Now, Orange Cassidy has tried and failed. I assume Darby Allin is the last one when he comes back.
Yeah.
Not really seen much from Hook or Daniel Garcia.
Garcia's TNT champ.
Yeah. And Hook,
he's doing his own thing.
And Hook's just kind of feuding with Christian again. Yeah, he's for Christian. Yeah. Yeah, so they've kind of just been dropped out of it altogether, by the looks of it. Now, when it comes to a takeover, if you've got a force like the Death Riders, and if they're saying these things, then you would expect some people in the locker room to be on their side, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Because at the moment, it looks like they're saying all these things and nobody fucking cares because they haven't added any more people. It just looks like everyone's like, no, we don't agree. So they look they look like the minority, and they look like they're wrong because no one's bothering to care. No one's like, oh, no, we're gonna keep doing our thing. Actually, just gonna keep wrestling matches for Tony Khan. So that's something that, and I get the NWO went the complete other extreme, didn't they? Where every other week it was like, oh, I can't beat him, I'll just put on an NWO shirt. And you had like Virgil and Buff Bagwell coming out with NWO shirts. And it got
out of hand.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, and that's kind of where it failed, isn't it? But yeah. I would have liked to have seen a couple more, just maybe 2 or more people. I mean, I wouldn't have had Wheeler Yuta there in the first place, to be honest. I think he's coming out of this looking really bad.
I think he should have turned like mega baby.
Absolutely, yeah, I agree. Because
if they're planning to do so.
Oh, it's too late now for me. He just looks like
not really intimidating.
He looks like a complete loser. He looks like a scalded dog, as JR used to say. He just looks like the guy who's like just like a lapdog who does what they say, and they beat him up and he's like, I'm sorry guys. He's like, what are you doing? We love Claudio and Pac. Claudio and Pac are great. They look dangerous and they are dangerous, so I got no problem with them and how they look in this.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on like the individual members and how they're being presented individually?
Well, I mean, you've got those three, Claudio, Pac, and Wheeler, are still trios champs, aren't they?
Yes, they are. Yeah, that's another point, actually. Good point. I saw them.
I mean,
go on.
They're just lackeys. They're not. When they're having trios matches with the Death Riders, they're not even having those three.
No, exactly.
So, what's going on?
Exactly. This 12-man tag match on Collision that's been announced this week, which has got a lot of hate from everyone, rightfully so. Yeah. Even then, it has John Moxley, Wheeler Yuta, and Claudio. No Pac. So you're right. The actual trios champions very rarely compete as a trio. I haven't seen the trios titles. I haven't heard them mentioned. I haven't seen a single trio come after them. I mean, have they just been silently put in the bin?
Are they even carrying the belts? I haven't seen the belts.
No, I don't think they have. I don't think they even carry the belts around. Maybe they're all in that tiny briefcase. And it's like an optical illusion. Maybe she'll open it and like shitloads of belts will just fly out.
It's like Mary Poppins' bag.
Yeah, exactly. And she'll open it, there'll be a big beam of light and they'll all magically fly to who they belong to. Like Transformers or something. But no, I don't think we've seen the trios titles. I'm just going to pull up the match graphic. Let me go on Tony Khan's Twitter. So he posted it last night and everyone went absolutely crazy. There you go. Wheeler Yuta in the graphic, I'm pretty sure, has a trios title on his shoulder.
Okay.
So it is still being acknowledged. I'm going to bring that graphic up so you guys can see it. I can't tell if that is a Ring of Honor or trios title. No, it says trios on it in black. Yeah, it's one of the. It looks like an old. They look like the old Intercontinental titles, don't they? With the blue in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
So Wheeler Yuta has got a trios title on his shoulder. Have they even defended it since they won them? I can't remember who they beat. I don't even know who they beat.
Yeah, it's been that long.
I don't even know when they won them. Anyway, trios titles. It's another issue that's just been completely glossed over, it looks like. And either get rid of them or give them some importance. But don't just do nothing with them. I mean...
Yeah. I mean, they really do need to go.
Yeah.
You can't bring him back from this destitution.
No, both tag and trios divisions suffer because both exist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You end up having not enough of either. So just get rid of the trio, stick to tag teams.
Yeah, make your tag division good.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I mentioned earlier, I think it was off stream, or might have been on stream, I don't know. A.I Jeff had a fantastic point about the Death Rider story. So he says that the storyline has failed to explore the individual motivations of each member. Claudio, Wheeler, Pac, and Marina Shafir. And I think that's a great point. I don't think I've heard much at all from each member as to why they are backing up Moxley, what their thoughts are on what's happening in AEW. I don't think we've heard any of that from either of them.
No, not really.
Just completely glossed over.
Standard lackeys.
Yeah, it's just Mox speaking every week. And, you know, I think the best thing about if you do have that character development of each member is then you can sow the seeds for breakups and stuff. Because you can sow seeds for them having the same kind of general motivation but slight differences. Yeah. So then they can come to a head at some point and you can go, remember when Claudio said this, but we haven't got that. So when it does happen, it's going to make no fucking sense, is it? Because nothing's ever been said about it.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think that's a really good point. And I think it's a missed opportunity. What else has A.I Jeff said? He's talked about the fan disengagement. I don't know if you must hear it as well when we watch Dynamite, because we do watch the show. The crowd when the Death Riders come out, it's just so lifeless.
Yeah.
It's just, oh, here they come. And I'm the same. When I hear them come out, I think, here they come. They're going to come out. Marine is going to choke someone. Someone's going to chase them away. They're going to run through the crowd. See you next week. That's literally all it is every week. They set up someone to challenge Moxley. They have a few tag matches. After a match, Moxley comes out with a weapon. He gets chased through the crowd. Let's just do that every single week for like 4 months. Yeah. And this whole like, we haven't seen the title. It's in this briefcase. What's the payoff for this? Like, is it going to be a new title? Is that the massive payoff for this whole storyline? I don't know why it's in a briefcase and why we can't see it. I can't think of a logical reason why it's not being seen. I mean, it's definitely too small. It's definitely too small, that briefcase, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
Because it's one of the best looking titles in the world, the A.I.W world title. And it's so big and it's so vast. And it looks like it's being carried around in a purse. Like, comparative to its size. I want to talk about, I don't want to use the word blame, but who is responsible for this kind of storyline? Now, I think we can all probably make a guess that it's probably a combination of Jon Moxley and Tony Khan.
Yeah, I'd expect so.
I don't want to, I mean this with all due respect to Tony Khan, but I'm imagining this story would have been much better if it was just Jon Moxley. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think there's got to be some element of it being sort of screened by other people there.
Yeah, because Tony Khan's going to have, well, he said he's got 27 writers or something. Just a crazy amount of people. I would not want to be in one of those meetings.
No.
And I don't know, and Tony's got stuff to do, man. Tony books Dynamite, Collision, ROH, up until recently Rampage. He's got his analytics company. He's got Jacksonville Jaguars stuff to do. He's talking with networks. He's signing checks. He's doing all this stuff. And then he's got time for some moron in creative just to go, can I do this? He's like, yeah, fuck it, whatever. And then it gets fucking shown on TV. I imagine that sometimes does happen. You know,
yeah, probably hit the nail on the head.
So, and I can't imagine Jon Moxley would deliberately want to do something that is just, it's so obviously not very good. It's just not very good on television. It comes across as just not planned. I don't know whether something's changed recently, where the original vision is gone. Maybe they had Shane lined up and he said no, and they thought, fuck, what do we do now? I don't know. But
will we ever?
No, exactly. I don't think we will. What does A.I Jeff think? So he says, I don't know if this is fact or not, but we'll go with what he says. He says Moxley was the primary creative force behind the storyline, with Tony Khan overseeing it. Moxley would contribute ideas and dialogue. Khan's role included approving and shaping the overall direction. Sounds about right, doesn't it? In terms of, yeah, I think that's a good working relationship to have. The star says, I want to do this. The boss says, okay, we'll let you do your thing and then we'll shape it as we go along. I just think in this example, it hasn't really worked.
Yeah. Who really knows? But yeah, you'd expect it to be that way.
Yeah, I would have honestly, in terms of, I mean, I'm not a pro wrestling booker, but, you know, you don't have to be a professional chef to know if food tastes bad. You know what I mean? You don't have to be a film producer to watch to know what a terrible film is. You know, we watch the show, we've watched wrestling for a long time. You can usually tell what hits and what doesn't. Yeah. So is there anything you would have done differently with that respect, Kronus? Like, would you have done something different from the start? How would you have just anything?
Yeah, maybe not start so extreme.
Yeah. Okay. So you think they kind of blew their load really quickly with the bagging?
Yeah, it was kind of like the Tony Storm Mariah May shoe.
Oh yeah, it's like that reversed, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that started like really savage with that attack.
Yeah.
But then sort of just plateaued until the pay-per-view.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. So you mean like from the heel turn then on, it kind of did kind of watered down, not didn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if they can really do anything to save it. If they're going to reveal a new belt, maybe that will at least make it a bit more interesting.
I mean, the only thing they could do with that to make me go wow is if they brought out one of WWE's titles. That's the only thing that would make me go, holy shit, that was awesome. But if it's just,
we'll see that.
No, but all this for a new title design, oh my god, imagine that.
It's not going to be all for that, but
no,
might just go, ooh.
Well, I'm struggling. I can't see what the payoff's going to be, and that's a good and a bad thing. It's a good thing because he might surprise us. It's a bad thing because it can lead to bad storytelling. When if no one's got any idea what's going on, there's a fine line between being obvious and being impossible to read. You have to kind of find a balance where you can sort of see a general direction, but you're not entirely sure where it's going to end up. So that's good storytelling because it keeps you engaged, but also builds kind of excitement and intrigue as well, where you're kind of waiting and excited for what's going to happen. And I think there's a bit too much of the what's going on to the point where people don't care because there's not a lot of interesting things happening.
No, not really.
What else has A.I Jeff said? So Jeff's got some suggestions as to how it could have been more successful. So he said a much clearer narrative path. So he says, I would have established a clear evolving narrative where each action by the Death Riders had a specific purpose, leading to a climactic event or series of matches where their influence could either be cemented or overthrown. I mean, I feel like that's what they're trying to do.
Kind of.
I just think that if you replace the Dark Order, JD Drake, Chuck Taylor, the Rock and Roll Express, if you replace those with some credible names and build them into longer term angles, that probably might have been better. Because we haven't seen the Dark Order since, have we?
No, it's true.
And we haven't seen JD Drake since. Or Chuck Taylor. I guess Chuck Taylor was to piss off Orange Cassidy, wasn't it?
Yeah, and to write him off.
Yeah. Is he injured again? Is he? Because I know didn't he retire?
Retired.
Because I thought he retired, and then he said he might come back, so I wasn't sure what was happening.
I'm not sure, but last it seemed was retirement.
Yeah, and it's very sad, but I think he's doing like producing or something, so fair play to him. Character focus. So this is what we mentioned earlier. Develop each member's backstory or personal stakes in the faction's missions. Make their actions more understandable and their characters more engaging.
Well, you touched on that earlier with the other members.
Yeah.
Just feeling like henchmen.
Yeah.
No real drive.
I feel like the only one we've had an absolute slither out of is Wheeler Yuta because of the whole I'm feeling conflicted kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
and they're still bullying him.
Yeah, exactly. He's still there. But I mean, Marina Shafir, I mean, she has the most to offer here because she wasn't part of BCC at all. I mean, she hadn't been on TV for how long? Like a long time. Because she wasn't very good. But I think her presence is really good. But I would love to hear why she's here and why she's with Jon Moxley and what's her problem with AEW. And Pac and Claudio have sort of been with BCC for a while, so you could just say, oh, they're teaming up with their buddy. But I still like to hear from them. But I think Marina has a lot to offer there in terms of a character and some focus. So I would like to say, is it too late for that? I don't know. I don't think it's ever too late for anything. But is it going to make people care? Probably not. Oh god, this one. Incorporate fan feedback more dynamically into the storyline. That would mean get rid of it altogether at this point because everyone seems to hate it. Even some of the most diehard, like bootlicking, absolute toe-sucking AEW fans I've ever seen on social media are saying this sucks. I've never seen anything like it. So if you're going to incorporate fan feedback, Tony, I just pop it in the bin. I would.
It's over.
It's over. It says, perhaps through interactive segments or addressing the fans' concerns directly in promos to rejuvenate interest. Imagine that. Moxley comes out and goes, I know you guys think this sucks. Well, fuck you. I'd fucking love that. That would be great.
It would be amazing.
You guys shouted Tony Khan. This is my idea. Oh, God. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that they'd kind of broken the fourth wall, would it?
No.
In terms of using promos for taking shots outside of AEW's echo chamber. What's next? End game and resolution. In short, there was a visible end game, whether it be a large scale match, a personal vendetta resolved, or a shift in power dynamics. It's important to always provide closure, or at least a significant turning point, or the vision of one. I think that's a big part of it, isn't it? We can't see where this is going.
No, you don't want to sort of reveal the finish too soon, I guess. But
no, but like
it does seem like it's sort of treading water.
It seems aimless, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like I said earlier. There needs to be a balance because there seems like there's no direction at all. I can't see. I'm trying to think in my head. Like, I've watched wrestling for 30 years and I cannot think. I mean, the only two things I can think of is Darby beats him at All In, and that's it. Great. Or, and I hope this isn't the case, the Elite come back and save the company. Which would be the dumbest thing I've ever seen in wrestling if that happened. Given that they literally tried to do the same thing.
Yeah, people would definitely turn on that, I think.
Yeah. People are saying, give Kenny Omega the title. That's great. But what have you got for him after that? It's important what happens. I don't want Kenny Omega doing open challenges for the title. I love Kenny Omega. He's back. He's great. He's been sorely missed. But it looks like they're going to drag out him and Okada until July, and it's just like, why? They're both there. They're there. Do it now. Do you have any ideas as to how this could end or where it's going? If let's say they don't drop it. Let's say Tony says, "Fuck you, I hate you all. I'm going to keep doing this." Any ideas what it could be leading to?
Well, I still think they're going to be going for Darby dethroning him eventually.
Yeah.
But if we're dragging it out until the summer, then it's just going to be probably rinse and repeat of babyface steps up, gets the upper hand for a little bit, but loses ultimately. And then just repeat that until we get to Darby, who wins.
Yeah,
it seems tedious.
It does,
that's all I can see.
And then again, I love Darby Allin, but I don't see him having the title for a very long time at all. I see him. Tony's always struck me as Tony is a guy for moments.
Yeah,
he's a guy for moments. You know, Saraya winning at Wembley, moment. Mariah winning at Wembley, moment. Him getting Meltzer drivered, a moment. Mariah's shoe to the face, you know, big moments that really kind of stick out. And then you think how many of those were followed through on. And it's like you can probably count on one hand how many they've actually followed through on. I thought Hangman and Swerve is a great example of when he did follow through on.
Yeah.
In terms of moments like Swerve invading his house or Hangman burning it down. That was great. But yeah, it just seems to be a moments thing. So this started obviously with a big moment of the bagging of Daniel Bryan. Sorry, Bryan Danielson. God damn it. I'm just going to call him the American Dragon from now on.
The American Baggin.
The American Baggin, yeah. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, started with a big moment and then just crashed completely. Hasn't been as remotely interesting since All Out. And even when he won the title from the American Dragon, I think we all knew it was coming. It's like, okay, Moxie's got a heel stable. If he's taken over the company, it'd be pretty dumb if you lost against the world champion, wouldn't it? So I think we knew it was coming.
A great start.
Yeah. Yeah. This isn't your company anymore. Oh, I've lost. All right, you can have it back.
Still your company for the moment.
I'll be back. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what really there else is to say. I think we've been quite reserved with our language as to how bad we think this is. I mean, it's terrible. Let's be honest. It's terrible. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it is at the moment.
And to people saying, "Oh, AEW do tell stories." Yes, they do tell stories. Nobody's saying they don't tell any stories. This one in particular just isn't very good. That's all it is.
Yeah, it's stagnated a bit.
I also don't think it helps that the rest of the show hasn't been that great either. In terms of creative, like Adam Cole MJF was just a waste of time. It's just been a bit. It just doesn't feel. It feels like something is kind of not quite working somewhere. You know, ever since old Jimmy Jacobs left, he's just fallen apart, and he was the scapegoat, and he was blamed for everything going wrong. So yeah, I think the product as a whole obviously is quite cold at the moment. Going into their Australia show, Grand Slam, which, you know, Australia is a very difficult market even for WWE to get in, as we saw with the Elimination Chamber last year. So I'm hoping it's a good show and a good crowd. I think Kenny Omega being back is great. But if they're going to drag him and Okada for the Continental title to All In, I'm not interested in that at all. I mean, the match would be great, but I don't really feel like the Continental title's been given much importance.
I think you've got too many mid cards.
Yeah, I mean,
it's so split up.
I see a lot of people say that the Continental Classic should be for a World Title shot at Revolution. I think that would probably serve a much better purpose.
Yeah.
Because as soon as that Continental title was introduced, Eddie Kingston won it, didn't he?
Yeah.
And the first thing he did was do an open challenge. And it's like, you've killed it already. In week 1, you've killed it. Like a brand new title, and you go open challenge, dead, and never to be seen properly again. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Any other thoughts, Kronus?
No, not really. Just hope it goes somewhere.
Yeah, we're hoping it goes somewhere. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
But that's our thoughts on the Death Riders storyline in AEW. Let us know what you think in the comments. Give us a like and a subscribe. Red thing in the bottom right-hand corner. I think it's still there. Or I might just sound like an idiot when I say that. I need to check it's still there. If you think I'm an idiot because it's not there, I apologise. But there should be
it's more sort of bottom left now.
Is it bottom left?
Near where our name is, yeah.
It's a red thing somewhere. But yeah, show us some support. We would really appreciate it. We're up to 75 subscribers now.
I know, nearly 100.
Nearly 100. Nearly the big 100.
Yeah, man, I'm excited.
But yeah, until next time, have some more content coming out probably post Royal Rumble, maybe a couple before the Royal Rumble, but we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, guys, take it easy. We'll see you later.
Bye.